Well, good morning. You know the best thing? I'm actually really glad I lost that phone yesterday. Whenever something bad happens to me, it always picks me right back up. And most people, as soon as something bad happens to them, they get stirred up in it and they get stuck there. Especially the weird thing is if they're sober. But when bad shit happens to me when I'm drunk, well, I let it out. It's all on here. At the same time as, then come down, let it go. But when people are sober, something happens, they're going to be talking about it for weeks and weeks and weeks. They're going to tell everybody one by one by one by one. And so that's one thing I'm really liking about this. Here, let me get my holder. My holder, drug. So, one thing, I had a long discussion with someone at one of the bars because they wanted to talk about it. And it always helps me out because I can see the flaws in everyone's thinking. And the number one flaw is that they want to believe in something, but they don't want to go look for the answers, right? They're like, well, I believe Jesus was a real person. I believe that he actually exists. Okay, but what does that matter? Whether it's true or not. But I don't think so. Because they corner the mind against the mind. And the mind is the image of Christ as a flaming being that they perpetrated and perpetuated upon humankind as a magic spell. But that thing always existed, right? Well, so then that's the thing about believing in it, right? Well, I can believe that the sky is green, but maybe I'm colorblind, right? Or, what's a word related to a color and so on. So the mind can be divided so much. And so then they turn it inside out. They're like, okay, here you go, motherfuckers. We got an answer for you. We'll get all our best magicians together, all our best code breakers, and we're going to build a fucking book. And we're going to fucking corner every fucking mind in the whole goddamn world, and everybody can fucking eat a big fat dick. And that's what they did when they created the Bible on purpose. To both give reverence to everyone's ego, at the same time as a big ol' right to everybody's fucking face, and then they could use it against everybody on both sides, inside and out, in order to keep that demon in his fucking place. And then to give him a story, because everybody's got an ego, and most people never fucking see Jesus, the image of Christ, which, see, they say, oh yeah, everyone's got in the image of God. Yeah, everyone. Close your eyes to mind. Yeah, okay, there he is. But when it comes out here, in the real world, in the 3D world, he ain't never, ever, ever been. And that's the story. But, so they had to give it reverence, because he's the ultimate demon. He's the ultimate crux of every single person's mind. They can still dance around it forever, ever, ever, no matter what it is. I mean, that's the whole thing behind narcissism, right? I mean, ultimately, it's not about like, oh, look at me, look at me. No, it's about cornering everyone's mind and making sure that everyone needs you when you're really not useful for anything other than to keep a problem going. And so then here's the funny thing of where the position that I've been put in, right? As that being that was called. But I'm not Jesus, I'm God. And God would have came and showed that everyone was equal and revealed the truth. So that's why he's the first and the last, the only man, technically, to come, because every other physical body is feminine and the masculine is the mind, but nobody can ever get to him unless they have the image of God, that they get to see Christ. But God is the divine feminine, is the blackness that he lives in, which is the blackness behind your eyes. And even when it comes to bodies, the female body is the masculine body, and the feminine body, technically, is the male body. Because look, flat. Look at the sky, flat. But the ego, boom, popping out, boobs, Always wants to make an expression. Always wants to get everybody's attention. I can't help but do it. Even if it's just walking out in the street and everybody's like, do you see the things on her? God damn. See, that's the inside out of, there's the masculine, there's God walking around as the inside out version of that. Well, so when they created this, the first thing was they had to take all the aspects of God that they could collect from around the world, and they had to collect it and then turn it upside down and divide its pieces and disseminate it into chapters and create characters, right? So every zodiac sign is one of the 12 disciples. But they even further turned it by making it so by name it's divided, because magic is done with letters and numbers and characters. Those are all the characters. Alphabet means symbol. So the division symbol, a fucking swastika, any letter, even just doodling like some magic sigil, every single one of that is an alphabet. Which is also why they had to make everyone literate. So everyone was trapped in the magic spell. Well, and they all had to get to the divine feminine, because some people seen Christ and some haven't. And that's the way it's always been. But nobody's ever seen God, which is the divine feminine. So they had to make her come, trapped in a body, as him, inside out. It's the only, whether they did it on purpose or not, that's what they did. And so, like John, for instance, see, he's the biggest problem in the entire Bible, and they put it all on him. He's considered Virgo, or he's considered Scorpio, and so is Judas. What's our president's middle name? That's John. So in Revelations, he's writing out the book all by himself after Jesus is dead. Supposedly getting an angel is telling him, and Jesus is telling that angel to tell him what to say. But then it's like, oh, but he didn't know the meaning of this stuff at the time. Well, what the fuck? That's just stupid. If an angel tells you something and gives you visions, and it is what it is, you'd be like, well, this is what I saw. And then you'd ask the angel, what is this? It's a transportation mode. Oh, like a carriage? Yeah. Oh, well, what's this? Well, it's like a bird you can fly in. What? Yeah, it's a transportation mode, just like a carriage. It's just a bird. Oh. See? So them talking to people, they got everybody's mind cornered in circles about bullshit. And Revelation is the most magical chapter of all. That's the most bullshit, set up as the magic spell against the magic spell against the magic spell against the magic spell. And none of it's relevant, and it's all relevant because only some one person can come and reveal this shit. Because it's called The Revelation of Jesus Christ, but John wrote it. But then the weird thing is prophets that come and go, oh, I came in the name of God. And then, so here's all the answers. This is what God told me to tell you. Well, the weird thing is, one consistent thing throughout history was that almost all of them would have the same fucking story. But John, he didn't have the same fucking story because they divided that story and they used it against everyone. And he's Judas. Judas and John are the same guy. But they're not God. They didn't exist. They're not real. These are characters in a made-up story, but the story is based upon God and a zodiac sign brought down and split up. See, Virgo, that's the maiden, the virgin. That's like the divine feminine. But that's a V. That's I. The letter I, which originally was 1 in Roman numerals. You're like, okay, boom. Now we divided the mind. We split in half. Now it's a 22. No. Yeah. And it is the same thing with A. Like, okay, A. That's 1. Okay, but we're going to go, boom. Now it's an A. And then we're going to put a bar in it, like a compass. You know, like, oh, what's the distance between here and here? But A is at. Okay, so where's everybody at? If we're all in the mind. Okay, we'll put I on 9. Yeah. You're balancing a change of the mind, changing. What's the exchange? E. And Roman numerals, Li. Well, L, there's your 1 in the ground. There's 2 minds. Okay, so then you got the body and the mind, or the mind and the body, but see, that's always been the problem, that the 2 things are separate and together. So that's 12. 1, 2. Whatever 1 is 2. See, but there's only 1. I had to figure this shit out and do it backwards and cast a curse upon everyone. And then you got I. Li. Okay, so then they're like, we need a new letter. Another division of the mind. Because this is 51. Before they used Indian numbers. Then when they went to India, that's one thing that they borrowed from India, and they went away from Roman numerals because they needed a secondary set for numbers, and they used the Sanskrit ones. Numbers from the oldest religion in the world. Because shit, every one of them already seen him too. But then their mission, their job, and their culture in the Vedic tradition was, okay, well, now I got to create a new character. I've seen the image, and now I got to create a new character and a new temple. So then each person is getting a new cult, creating a cult. But then they had to unify the cults and make it okay. Now we got the Gita, you know, in order to try to bring it back together. But then the Buddhists, they're the ones that are the ones trapped with God, as God, in the unseen place, in the cosmic bubble, all by himself, as who and where every person's mind is at. Essentially, the seed of consciousness. So what they do with the L and the I? Well, if we're going to say L is the mind, 1, 2. The mind is 1 and it's 2. But it's got a mind of its own and it's got its own body. But every body is a body, right? It's just one that you can look at. You know, here's a man standing up, right? We're gonna chop this motherfucker in half. Okay. Now we just got a little one. And we got a big one. There's the cap, you know. The capital L is the one that's divided, and the lowercase one is an I. But either you take the lowercase one and the uppercase one, and boom, divide the mind, turn it upside down, T, 20. Divide it all or nothing. Or the better way is, okay, well, we'll take the capital one, and we'll take the lowercase one, and either chop this one in half, or we'd make it so it's a little one with a dot over it, or remove the dot, or put it over here. So now you got 2, and then turn it upside down, boom, now you're at your T. 3 times divided. It's all magic. But you have to be able to see where everything came from in order to, because they cornered everyone's mind. But every time that was done, in and of itself, it contains how it got there. But nobody knows. How could nobody know? What's forensics, huh? When everybody's looking for forensics of stuff on the ground, but nobody knows how the alphabet and numbers and how religion and politics and all this shit works, but that's all of the mind. And that's the part that everyone runs away from or doesn't want to know nothing about unless they can use it to get their gun license or, you know, to go network at the church or whatever. I mean, you already know, if you've been here any time, that I don't have anything against religion, but I was given the position to I don't like using the word, but they're all the devil's advocate. I'm the truth, the way, and the life, as it. See, they divide it into three again. See, there's that T. That's how they started with the. See, L-I is 51. They turned that 51 into a T, and then he. And they laddered the exchange. Ah, yeah, look, 51. Now everybody's at the in a cornered mind. As he, but not he. Yeah. That's funny, right? And then light. There's another Li, starts 51. Life. There's another one. And the way. But that's a W, double V, 23. But 2 U's is 42. See, that one's divided upon divided upon divided. Separate. And, yeah. Well, what symbol's that? It's kind of like a Rubik's. It's kind of like a prism or Rubik's. It's whatever. It's a chimera. And so what's the way if the way is narrow? How do you get there? Huh? There's no way to get there. But how do people get there then? By being alone. Being trapped. But see, in this day and age, nobody can corner a mind. You'd think that either nobody would be able to wake up or everyone would be able to. Because all the data that's coming into their heads every day, through everything that's read, all that magic, through the devices, through learning, or the fact that no matter, you do that shit enough, and you run into a dead end everywhere. We're just running, tilling the same ground forever. Everyone ends up in a routine that's a dead end and stops growing. So then they're just like, I'm bored. I'll just get a new hobby. I'll blow my money on this and run away. I'll just find a new way to run away. Rather than ever find a way to stake it down and stay put and to build it up. That's why. Another way that they cornered the mind, the same people that made the Bible are the same people that made World War II. When it comes down to it. That both things are some Nazi stuff. In order to corner everyone. Mind and body. And they found that, okay, so the Bible, that's one way that we can use magic on everyone. And then we need to develop some kind of mind, body, physical creation that could give it to them. So they created dextrometh, amphetamine. As, now we got him in ice. Isa, look, the magic's working. So then the Bible and meth are the same thing. Only one, it's all divided out from everything. And then, then you can just take this and you're already there. At the same time as, but both ways are on drugs. Oh, yeah, and separate from themselves. Sometimes you're on, sometimes you're off. And then, you're going through the sermon just like you're on your coming up and come down. Okay. And then, how can you stay away for 3 days and never get tired? Yeah, and what's the cave? I don't know. If it's not, the cave is inside one's own skull. No, think about Judas and John being the same character of the zodiac. See, they both start with the letter J, which is 10. That's half at 20. But that's a 1-0. The mind is a mind, all or nothing. See, computers are built off of ones and zeros. So you can have, and you got darkness, and you got the star. The one star, that's him, as the light. So you got masculine and feminine. 1-0. On or off. Is or isn't. But even isn't is and is. So that's why she's called is Isis. One of the oldest ways in Egypt. Nothing's ever really changed. It's all one thing. It's all to trap everyone's mind and to get everybody to fucking organize themselves. Or if they're unwilling to work toward it, then they can run around in circles for the rest of their life. In and out of jail, or in and out of church, or in and out of work, in and out of their wife. But ultimately, going nowhere and doing nothing. In most cases. I mean, because most people limit their experience. They don't want to grow. Once they're like, this is what I think. Now I'm not going to go look for the answers. Yeah. But everywhere I go, if somebody brings up, I'm going to give my little opinion, but I'm never going to grow that opinion. I want it to stay as small as possible. See, that's like exactly why they did that. Because they had to bring it out. Because you could say he's the snake bite and the poison. He's the demon and the angel, so to speak. And every mind is he, and every body's she, but every body is a he, and every expression is a she. It's all how they divided the mind and the body in order to cast magic upon all beings. Now, why would you believe in God and then pick a religion and then stick to it? Especially if it's comfortable, because comfort is the slow way. Christ suffered, so we all want to be comfortable and safe. And then we'll revere him for his suffering. See, they made that look silly. If life is about experience, then you have to experience getting outside your comfort zone. But church is about a comfort zone. It's about hiding in a little nook and cranny with only a few people, and then running away from yourself and standing on all of them, kind of like Xerxes, and in their ignorance. Because people don't want new experience. Because they're scared. They want an easy answer to walk around with an ego. Like, oh, look, I got my knife. Look, I got my Bible. Look, I got my pistol. Look, I got my gold star. I'm a cop. Look, I got my swastika tattoo. Look, I got... No, you don't. Especially, that's the weird thing about holding on to it like that. It shows an insecurity. And then you don't got it. If you're holding it, in a sense. So, then you have to divide the mind. So, okay, well, if the Bible's true, then every book is true. So why would you stop there? That's the first and the last and the most removed book in the entire world. Apart from the truth. But it gives a truth of how they enslaved everyone on the planet. And so to be a Christian is to, in a sense, be supporting that tyranny. Because how could you be a Christian and vote for a president when the president got its power from the royal family. And why would you live in a state and you support your state and your local, but then how's federal come in? But the money in the Federal Reserve that they print the money off for one, whenever the Treasury Department needs money, they contact the Reserve Bank, but the Reserve Bank is an empty bank. And they just on a computer write out an electronic check off of a zero balance and send it to the Treasury and then hold that debt against all of us and say, this is on you guys because you needed more money. Where'd it come from? We came from nowhere. And we're holding it against all of you. There's your national debt. At the same time as when you pay your taxes in, see, you're paying money on something that it was made up and invented, pulled out of the sky as zero, and it passed around, and then we all owe on extra. And then out of those dividends that come, there are secret shareholders where those dividends go to England. Every time you pay your taxes, you pay in the royal family, as far as I understand. See, the United States technically never got away from tyranny. They just moved the jailers further and further away. They moved them into Washington D.C. and moved them into and who's the one that started it all? The papal bull, the Pope. See, it's all held there at the imaginary pole, imprisoning everyone's soul as a mind. And they divide into three before, because I believe Hong Kong is the fourth sovereign place, technically. But see, they laddered it back, HK. So what part of it, I don't know. But the other places you can give definitive, the definitive person that is on the account, which would be Donald, it'd be Leo, and it'd be Charles, I believe, right? As the dads that aren't taking care of any kids. Not really. But the most feminine one that's leading it would be the Pope now. But at the same time, whenever the Pope writes in the past, I mean, who knows how it's changed, but would write out a papal bull, every leader in the he was made the King of Kings. And then everyone had to follow his laws the world over. In every country. At the same time as he has his own country. Of no country. It's outside of every jurisdiction. Holding on to the Bible. Holding the position for God as the Christ. But it got a cross in the basement. In the catacombs. As a metaphor to everyone's lost soul. In St. Peter's Basilica. See, because Christ, that image, that's Peter. And where's Peter? The lineage go back to? It goes back to Osiris. Osiris, cut up into 14 pieces. One piece was missing, eaten by fish. So then, see, they divided the fish, and then, see, then they call him Pisces. They made it up. But it is a spell. It is real. But it's all magic. 100% of it. Religion is the blind version where, I don't know. Everybody else is doing it, so it must be safe. Yeah, is that what Jesus would have done? Taking the easy way out? Probably not. If he lived. I mean, since the story says no. See if I have anything else I got for you right now to think about today. Oh yeah, and just like I was saying, hey, they took the Li and you put them together, made a T and turned it upside down. You divide the mind that way and collapsed 51 into 20. Which I can't remember. Oh yeah, see, the 20. So the Masons, right? Their symbol is XX, and that you put the X's together, and now you got the sigil of Saturn, the 6. That's what 20 was before, and then they took the 51, and then they cornered the mind, and then they put it inside the sigil of Saturn, and then they got your T. All magic. Well, and then they divided again and put it on 24. It was something else though. The thing I'm wondering is how can I further work this cause or create something to divide it away or to fix it or to make it worse, however the case might be, since it is extremely important that I'm here and that I do understand all of this stuff, because that's my duty. It was given to me and forced upon me, and I could go any direction I wanted to. But it plagues me, you could say, the crown of thorns, day and night. At the same time, I don't even have to walk away. I just forget it. But why would I? I'm the Trinity, the monad, trying to help the world. At the same time, try to have my own fucking freedom. Break the system, remake the system, and get everything that belongs to me and is deserving of me. At the same time, lead when they make sure all the spots are taken for leading. Oh look, today on the Google search I just brought up Saturn. And talk about XX up in the corner. What the fuck? Anyway. Probably see you later today. Have a good one.